So there's been mixed reactions to Kabelo Gwamanda's resignation as the Mayor of Johannesburg. Out and Action SA, which pledged to support the ANC's bid to have Gwamanda ousted, have welcomed the move. And former Council Speaker Colleen Makubele has described the resignation as a sad day for the city. Let's get more reaction now. And for that, we're joined by the EFF's Gauteng Chairperson, Nkululeko. Nkululeko, good morning to you. And thank you so much for joining us. So I've mentioned who has welcomed the resignation of the mayor. Of course, civil society organizations like the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, Outer, having called for this resignation, and they're welcoming it as well. What's the position of the EFF?
No, good morning to you, Nalini, and good morning to the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. The EFF notes the resignation of the mayor of the city of Johannesburg, obviously following a lot of pressure and a lot of unwarranted and misdirected missiles towards the mayor. But we see this more than anything as an aim of the reconfiguration of the leadership, particularly pressure from the pressure groups and, to a certain extent by the ANC, and that they want to now assume the mayorship position in the city of Johannesburg.
Yeah. What does this mean for the EFF? I really just want to get that because there's obviously a question around this move and what it means for the state of the government of local unity, for instance, in the relationship between Al-Jamaa and the ANC. I mean, the point has been made as well around Kabelo Gwamanda being elected as mayor as a compromise between the ANC and the EFF. So where does this leave you and your views on the strength of the government of local unity?
Yeah. Look, the EFF remains committed to the establishing of a government that is stable and that's competent enough to effectively deliver services to the people of Johannesburg. Our two MMCs, particularly in public safety and public health, have really demonstrated to the people of Johannesburg exceptional dedication in managing their departments. And it's under that leadership that infrastructure and systems have been established to effectively address the basic needs of the people of the city of Johannesburg. So we do not particularly see a change or would want to see a change, particularly in those departments. The executive is run through a collective leadership perspective. And with the EFF, it matters not who would be at the helm of the position or the pole position or even the chains rather, but for us to remain part of governance so that we can really effectively render services and be a part of a government that would render services to our people. It was never really about the negotiations or rather what you would call, what you would have termed in this case that it was a compromise, because there's no single political party in the city of Johannesburg that has a majority. We're all running in minority caucuses, and collectively we can then have a majority. So the engagement was always to be that who can best lead the city of Johannesburg, someone who would be considerate that they would then have to always consult and have thorough consultation with the executive. And we find ourselves in a situation where the Al-Jamaa comes in. I mean, Al-Jamaa at this level, I don't know how they would feel about this entire collective approach, because they are part of what constitutes a coalition government at a national level with the ANC. However, the ANC has decided to take a different posture and want to assume office here in the city of Johannesburg. But as the EFF will remain committed to ensuring that there is a government and would obviously want and continue to wanting to form part of this government.
Yeah, I'm just noting your tone here, Nkululeko, because, you talk about the government of national unity, Al-Jamaa being part of it nationally, but a different setup when you get to local level. And your tone sounding like, you're very much a part of the decision-making processes as the EFF, and you're more than welcome to respond to that. For instance, do you think that D Morero is the right person to lead the city of Johannesburg?
Well, look, at this point, and at some point, D Morero was the mayor, although he was a week special. in the city of Johannesburg. He was the mayor. We are of the firm belief that through a collective approach, because the ANC has never really governed the city of Johannesburg in a coalition that would have included many other political parties, including the EFF. And this signals a different era of governance, even if the ANC were to take over and take control now through D Morero. So we are confident in that the collectiveness of the composition of the executive will really seek to deliver service to our people, and the EFF voice will be heard, and that will form part of governance and still be able to attribute some of the ideological perspectives of the EFF inside the executive.
Maybe the right question to ask then, because you're not responding to my direct question, which is whether or not you support D Morero as the mayor of Johannesburg. Perhaps the question then to ask you is, if he is mayor of Johannesburg, is there an MMC position that the EFF is eyeing?
We've made our intentions clear, and I think society has come to appreciate, the 6 million people of the city of Johannesburg have come to appreciate that the honest truth is that the mayoral committee members of the EFF, particularly in public health and public safety, have been the most vocal, have been at the forefront of service delivery over and above any other member of the mayoral committee in the city of Johannesburg that is currently forming part of the executive. So would not want to deny the people of Johannesburg that leadership in its own. So we continue to engage all political parties in the reconfiguration of the mayoral committee, which would obviously at this point including a new mayor that would be appointed, and would want to continue where we have left off in the two particular departments as the economic freedom fighters. As to whether the ANC brings in whoever that it seeks to bring in as a candidate, we're not in a position to dictate to the ANC what which particular person they seek to bring forth to us.
Yeah, you know, Mr. Dunga, you were given the Access Finance MEC in Nkululeko just in June, and one wonders if, you know, if you get the sense that your fortunes are turning around. I mean, in June when you were asked, there was a sense that EFF and ANC relations were souring. I wonder if you want to respond to that, if you feel that the EFF's fortunes in its relationship with the ANC are turning around. But as you give that question some thought, let me bring this up. These are the mayors that South Africa, that Johannesburg has had since 2016. 9. We're going to run them up on the screen. And as you answer the question around whether or not the EFF's fortunes have turned with the ANC, we're going to keep them going because Parksdale, Herman Mashaba, Jeff Makubo, and 9. I mean, the list goes on. And now that seat sits vacant. The question now remains, are your fortunes turning with the ANC? And if so, how do you hold stability so that we're not having 1 year turnaround periods, a few months turnaround periods, even 25 days turnaround periods with a mayor in the city of Johannesburg?
The prospects of the growth of the EFF and its existence and influence has never really relied on the dysfunctionality of the ANC or the relationship that we hold with them, you know. We have a large constituency of people who believe in the economic freedom fighters, particularly in Gauteng and the city of Johannesburg, which gives us the highest number of votes. And with that being said, that's where our fortunes lie. It lies with ensuring that we really advance the voice of those who vote for us.
Yeah.
So in this case, we have a great relationship with the ANC, a cordial relationship with the ANC, particularly in Gauteng, and we're able to vent and have discussions that are progressive in terms of the systems that we would want to put in place, the ideological perspectives that we can really find one another and advance in our respective spheres of government, whether it being local and provincially so. And with that being said, we continue to engage all political parties, and particularly the ANC, who is at this point seen as one of the progressive organizations from an
Okay, that line cutting, but I think that point was made very, very clearly there. Nkululeko Dunga there, EFF Gauteng Chairperson, responding to the news of Kabelo Gwamanda's resignation as Mayor of Johannesburg, and ending off there by saying that the EFF does have a good and cordial relationship with the ANC in Gauteng. So what's next for the mayoral position in the city, and what political back-scratching do you believe is taking place? Share your thoughts with us at Newzroom 405.